$15,000 buys a 30 by 40 steel arch shell, 1,200 square feet, mid-market gauge, verified 2026 pricing, and your brain has already built the inside of it. Corrugated metal, bare bulb, concrete floor. Something between a barn and a bunker. Your brain is wrong, and it is wrong for a reason worth the next few minutes. Because there is a finished Quonset home in Tennessee with ceilings running nearly 17 feet, an open loft overlooking the main floor, polished concrete throughout, a galley kitchen in steel shelving and butcher block, and birch trim on the walls. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, main level. Same arch you just pictured. The correction first. $15,000 is the shell, not the home. Finished lands at $45,000 to $60,000. And one surface on this building decides whether it reads as a house or a hangar. It is not the arch. Start with the delivery, because it is almost comically undramatic. 1 or 2 pallets. Corrugated steel arch panels, a single type of nut and bolt, an assembly manual, and a set of state-stamped engineered blueprints. Every panel arrives pre-cut and pre-drilled. Connections are bolted, and there is no welding anywhere in the process. A small crew with hand tools can have the shell standing in as little as 10 to 14 days. The pricing is ordinary market pricing. A 30 by 40 kit runs $15,000 to $24,000 at mid-market gauge and supplier, sitting inside the wider $6 to $20 per square foot band that covers the whole category. Now, the correction this channel makes every single time, because the number in the title is a shell price. $15,000 does not buy a home, it buys the arch. A fully finished 30 by 40 Quonset home slab, insulation, systems, interior, the works averages $45,000 to $60,000. Nobody should walk away from this video with the wrong number in their head. But here is the part that actually matters for what we are talking about today. What $15,000 buys is 1,200 square feet of completely unobstructed volume. No interior columns, no load-bearing walls anywhere. The panel is the structure, the roof, and the walls simultaneously, so the entire interior arrives as one open span, 100% usable, a genuinely blank floor plan you partition however you want, whenever you want. Most building products sell you rooms. This one sells you air. You are not buying a look, you are buying a volume, and volume is neutral. So why does almost everyone picture the same disappointing interior? Because the expectation is 80 years old, and it was earned honestly. In 1941, at a naval base at Quonset Point, Rhode Island, the Navy needed a shelter it could ship anywhere on Earth, drop onto bare ground, and stand up in a single day using crews with no construction training. The corrugated arch was the answer. More than 170,000 of them were built by 1945 and sent to every theater of the war, the Pacific Islands, North Africa, England, Alaska. So, for 8 decades, this shape has meant barracks, storage, equipment sheds, Nissen huts in old newsreels. Your brain did not invent that association. The 20th century installed it. The trouble is that the association is now describing a use case, not a building. And there is a second reason it keeps getting confirmed a modern one, and this is the important part. Builders who have finished these buildings warn about a specific mistake. Partition the interior into too many small rooms, then drop a flat finish ceiling across the whole thing, and you have built a building inside a building. Pointless for this form, as one put it bluntly. Think about what that actually does. You paid for a curved 15-foot volume, and then you spent additional money to hide it behind a standard 8-foot ceiling. What is left is a normal, slightly awkward little house wearing a metal shell. Dark in the middle, cave-like, exactly the interior everyone pictures. Every disappointing Quonset interior I have seen is a build that fought the shape instead of using it. That is not the material failing. That is a design decision failing. So look at one that used the shape. This one is real, and it is in Tennessee. It is called the Tin Can House in New Tazewell, Tennessee, and I want to walk you through it exactly as it is documented. You come through the door, and the house opens all at once, living room, dining room, and galley kitchen visible from the entry. No hallway, no compression. 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms sit on the main level, so this is not a novelty cabin, it is a complete family house. Then you look up, and that is the moment the building stops being what you expected. The ceilings run nearly 17 feet, and they pull your eye straight to a large open loft overlooking the main floor. Not a crawl-in sleeping shelf. A full second level, open to the room below, made possible by a ceiling most houses simply do not have. The floors are polished concrete, low maintenance, and chosen deliberately to complement the industrial character rather than apologize for it. The kitchen is long and narrow, and it reads intentionally commercial, industrial lighting, open steel shelving, butcher block, stainless steel countertops. A galley kitchen in a room with a 17-foot ceiling is a very specific and very good idea, and it only works because there is no structure in the way. And then the detail worth noticing most. The interior walls are finished in multicolored wood panels with birch trim, selected to complement the color palette of the building's custom end walls. Read that again. The interior palette was designed backward from the end walls. Hold that thought, because it is the whole video. Nothing in that description says military surplus. It says small architect-designed house. Same building you pictured 5 minutes ago. Different decisions. 3 structural facts made it possible. Fact 1. Clear span. There are no beams, no posts, and no load, bearing interior walls anywhere in this building. You begin with a genuinely blank floor plan and partition it however you like. Open concept is not an achievement here, it is the default condition, and walls are the thing you add. Which also means that redrawing the plan a decade later is finish work, not structural work. The walls are the cheapest, most changeable thing in the building. Fact 2. The vertical dimension, and this is the one people leave on the table. A 30-foot arch peaks around 15 feet, and that height is not decoration. It is buildable volume. Lofts and mezzanines go in economically. A sleeping loft, a home office, or a library overlooking the great room. Staircases run along the curve where the ceiling is lowest and the floor space is least useful anyway. Skylights bring daylight down into the lofted level. In framed construction, adding a second floor means re-engineering what carries it. In a clear span arch, you are hanging a platform inside a volume that was already there. Fact 3. The curve is finishable, and most people do not know this. The standard method is a thin layer of plywood bent to follow the arch, which is then drywalled and painted exactly like any conventional home. From inside, you get a smooth curved painted ceiling, or you leave the steel exposed on purpose and make it the entire aesthetic. Both are completely legitimate. The mistake is not choosing. Half-finished steel with a bit of drywall stuck to it looks like a project, not a decision. And all 3 of those facts depend on one surface. I still have not mentioned the one doing most of the work. First, pick your language. There are 3 coherent directions inside an arch, and picking one early saves you money and regret. Direction 1 is industrial, and it is the honest one. You leave the steel shell exposed and lean into what the building already is: polished concrete floors, track lighting running along the curve, following the arch instead of pretending it is flat. Pendants dropped over the kitchen and dining, metal and wood furniture, floating shelves, minimal decor. The building stops being something to hide and becomes the design. Direction 2 is warm, and it is where most families land. Half-wood paneling on the lower portion with paint above, wide plank floors, area rugs, leather, textiles, plants, a wood stove throwing light onto a curved ceiling at night. The shell is still there. You have just softened everything you touch. Direction 3 is minimalist. Neutral paint on the lower panels, clean lines, uncluttered planes, the arch itself as the only gesture in the room. Then 2 levers that change the space fundamentally. The first is knee walls. Frame them 12 to 18 inches inside the steel skin, and you get flat drywall, standard outlet placement, and normal door framing, conventional rooms living underneath a completely unconventional ceiling. That is how bedrooms in these homes feel ordinary in the best way. The second lever is one almost nobody mentions. You can raise the arch. Builders lift the arch up on side walls to gain vertical wall and headroom. One documented design takes a 5-foot arch and raises it a full 8 feet. That single move changes the proportion of every room and makes a full loft comfortable rather than tight. Now the surface, the one that decides everything. Here is the fact that reorganizes this entire building in your head, and it comes directly from the manufacturers. The end walls do not support the structure. Every curved inch of a Quonset is load path. The side walls are the structure. That is why openings for doors and windows are restricted to the end walls, and why cutting into the flanks requires additional engineering and additional cost. The arch is doing a job continuously, from the foundation on one side to the foundation on the other. The 2 flat faces carry nothing, which means the end walls are the only surfaces on this building where you have complete freedom, and they also happen to carry 100% of your architecture, your entry, your windows, your view, your street face, almost all of your natural light. Every decision that determines what this home looks like, inside and out, lives on 2 walls that are structurally along for the ride. And the options are wide open. Documented end wall treatments include masonry, stucco, stained wood, vinyl siding, and sleek panoramic glass fronts that open the whole gable to a landscape. Or economical factory steel ends, available in color. You can even notch a section of the end wall inward to create a covered entry. So, here is the real explanation for everything in this video. The difference between a Quonset that looks like storage and one that looks like the Tennessee house is almost entirely end wall design. Same kit, same arch, same price on the pallet. One has a factory panel with a walk door punched in it. The other has a glass gable framing a mountain. One honest limit. Renders showing glass ribbons running down the curved flank are fantasy. Skylights are the legitimate way to bring light through the arch itself. The arch is the body. The end walls are the face, and you were never looking at the face. Which brings us to what all of this costs and what it cannot fix. Here is the reversal this video owes you. The $15,000 was the cheap part, and the look you just fell in love with is the expensive part. Run the honest numbers. Interior framing and drywall run $9 to $19 per square foot before wiring, plumbing, fixtures, or the loft you just mentally added. End walls, base connectors, spray foam, and doors together add 25 to 30% over the advertised kit price, and a custom glass gable costs considerably more than a factory panel with a door in it. The finish 30 by 40 averages $45,000 to $60,000, and the more the interior looks like the Tennessee house, the closer you sit to the top of that range. The volume is cheap. The transformation is not. Then, the space tax. Full radius models surrender roughly 25 to 30% of the floor near the curved edges, where the steel leans in over your feet. Knee walls buy that space back at interior finish prices, and straight sidewall models trade a higher kit cost for more usable wall from the start. Insulation is not a styling choice. Curved steel physically rejects bad insulation, so closed-cell spray foam with full encapsulation is the only real option. Skip it, and condensation, energy loss, and mold arrive within a few years, and no interior design survives a wall quietly rotting behind it. Permits can fight you. Many residential zones carry roof, pitch, or aesthetic. Conformity rules, an arch fails on paper, so the county call comes before the deposit. Financing is genuinely harder, with most conventional lenders declining and appraisers filing arches as agricultural or temporary. And the honest one. From the road, it is still an arch. The interior transformation is total. The exterior transformation is limited to two faces. If the shape is a deal breaker for you, nothing inside changes that. One page. The title said, "It looks nothing like you would expect." That claim survives, but not for the reason people assume. The arch is not secretly beautiful. The arch is neutral. That is the whole finding. What you are looking at is 1,200 square feet of unobstructed volume with a ceiling near 15 feet and two blank faces, and it will read as whatever you decide it reads as. Which is exactly why the same kit at the same price produces both the equipment shed on the county road and the house in Tennessee with a loft over the living room. 3 decisions separate them. Whether you use the height or hide it behind a dropped ceiling, whether you finish the curved plywood bent to shape, then drywall and paint, or leave the steel exposed on purpose, and commit either way, and what you put on the 2 surfaces that carry no load at all. So here is the verdict, worded exactly. You are not buying a look for $15,000. You are buying the cheapest large open volume in American construction, and the look is sold separately in drywall, in plywood bent to a curve, and above all in 2 end walls. The shape was engineered to be dropped on bare ground and forgotten. 8 decades later, they are still standing, all over the world. The design never had an opinion about what happened inside it. That was always going to be your call. 2 answers in the comments, and be specific. First, exposed steel or finished drywall. Be honest, because that one answer changes your budget, your build sequence, and how the place feels at 7 in the morning. Second, if the end walls carry your entire architecture, what goes on yours? Glass, wood, masonry, or the factory panel? I read every comment, and I answer build questions personally. We cover alternative builds every week here. Real costs, real timelines. What works and what does not. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you on the next build.